Good morning, afternoon or evening and welcome back to Ventura Studios with me, Dan. This month we've got the excellent Severn Class Lifeboat from Airfix, which is a kit packed with detail, solidly engineered and a real joy to build. And what makes it even better? Well, every kit sold includes a donation to the RNLI, supporting the real life crews who operate these life-saving vessels around the UK. I'll just leave you with a bit of the ASMR of opening the package for a moment, as it's the bit we all love. Okay, let's get started. So what I've skipped out is the early stage part of just putting the whole together. It actually just comes in two parts. When the fitment isn't exactly perfect, but we'll forgive it as it's a great kit overall. On screen now you can see me building up the interior, and I'm a big believer in the Society of Hidden Paint, for any of those who are on Reddit. And I just wanted to put a good amount of effort into the interior, which will never see the light of day again. I had the idea of adding a nice red light inside. Why red? Well, it's because it's likely to be the type of light, used while operating. Looking back, it makes it impossible to see anything in the final model, so great call by me. I had to dig out a bit of the chassis here to fit out the wire, but overall I think I hit it really well. Chassis, is that the right word? Hull, boat, deck, whatever, one of the above. I used a bit of Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black as the base coat, as we always do on this channel, and then went at it with some Tamiya flat white for the walls and Tamiya rubber black for the seats. Now, the real Severn Class have an almost carpet look on the inside. I'm not sure if it is carpet, but based on this pic, it sort of looks like carpet. So to create that effect, I laid down some masking tape, cut it up with my hobby knife, and then laid down a base coat of Vallejo black primer. I built up a few thin layers of this, and then did a final coat of black on top. And if I'm honest, it probably looks mostly the same as if I just painted the floor the same colour, but it's all the fun that matters, right? So I wanted to add a bit of superficial detail to the controls panel inside, so primed it up with the classic Mr. Surfacer, went over with initial gloss coat, and then added a few tiny bits of masking tape just to give a bit of depth. Either computer screens or like some folded up maps or any bits of paper that they'd have dotted around. I then put a bit of Vallejo black primer on them to seal them in, popped a few dots of green and red here and there to represent some control lights, and then put the white on the tape. And a top coat to seal it all in, and we are good to go to put it all together. Now I picked up these awesome figures from a website called Scale 3D. I'll pop the link in the description if you're interested. And I painted them up with some Vallejo sun yellow for the overalls, flat red and red madder for the life jacket, flat white for the helmet, and matte black for the highlight. And I painted up 6 of these. Now 3 of these are going to be going on the inside, which further enhances my membership of the Society of Hidden Paint. And I started to assemble the exterior pieces, so enjoy this rapid fire assembly piece to some relaxing elevator music. And here goes with the rooftop on. Nice bit of manhandling, which took much longer than the video makes it seem. With the front on, Godspeed to the crew who will never be seen again. I used some of this putty surfacer to go over a lot of the seams, to try and smooth it out. I should probably have just used proper model filler if we're being honest, as the surfacer only does so much. Adding on some of the exterior detail, so enjoy the elevator music for a few moments and I'll be back for the paint job. Ah, welcome, you arrived on my floor. Now welcome at my terrible attempt at this paint job. I'll be using some Humbrol acrylics for this, midnight blue here, and this bit went well, and this was the only bit that went well. Oh, actually this Mr. Akius? Red coat wasn't too bad in the end, as luckily I cut out the first coat so you didn't have to watch the embarrassment live. This orange coat though, pure awful. You'll notice that I brushed past it, but you can see where it dripped down behind the masking tape. Good job, Dan. Highlighting some elements with the Tamiya flat white first, and then the Humbrol ghost grey for the deck. And this ghost grey went on really smooth, and I was really happy with it. And I also used the grey to go around the windows. Here you can see me pulling off the liquid mask that I used to protect the windows, but a good tip for all you maskers out there: don't go too close to the edge, as this pulled off some of the paint too. Pure model brilliance, right? This is what you tune into this channel for. A final top coat of gloss to seal in all our base colours, and then it's time to move on to the decals and some weathering. So for each decal, however you pronounce it, it's the same process. A layer of microsol, decal, soaked in water, transferred onto the model, and then use a cotton bud to absorb all that excess water. Then another layer of microset on top, again absorbing any excess with the cotton bud. So I picked the 1741 Holyhead lifeboat markings as I grew up on the coast of South Wales, and despite being the other end of Wales to Holyhead, the RNLI were and still are an ever-present entity, and one that I've always admired. For those who don't know, the RNLI are an entirely volunteer-based organisation and form part of the Coast Guard of the British Isles. They've been around for over 200 years, I think it's 201 years this year, and alongside the HM Coast Guard are responsible for search and rescue out at sea. As I mentioned at the start, a portion of each Airfix kit does get donated directly to the RNLI, and I popped an affiliate link in the description to the Airfix website, or if you'd like to make a donation directly to the RNLI, there is a link for that too. They truly are an inspirational organisation, and heroic in every sense of the word. So back to the model hell here, and trying to get these lines to match up was great fun. So much fun, in fact, I almost threw the model out the window and shut down this channel. But we got there in the end, and we're still going. I added a spare RNLI logo to the top of the dinghy just to give it a bit more pizzazz. In terms of weathering, I used some oil paints, massively diluted with some artist's turpentine. I followed the method from the book Ship Models from Kits by David Griffith, where you use white to lighten the surface just to make the boat appear from further away, and takes away that plastic sheen. I did the same with a bluey grey wash for the deck. And I used a bit of salt streaks for ship's weathering tool from AK, first laying it on thick, then thinning it with some tips just where this water would have been dripping out of the top. Final step then is a top layer of matte acrylic varnish, and with that, the boat's all done. All is left to assemble the crew who will be driving this to save their lives at sea. I picked the other 3 crew members to be up on the top deck, gluing them all down with a bit of super glue, to keep them safe in that rough weather, and really stuff them in there to keep them in place. I used a bit of this fishing wire to create a bit of string to hold the flag as the final step, rather than attach it directly to the posts. And once that was done, I'd say we're good to go. If you enjoyed this build, hit that like button and subscribe for more movie-inspired models and creative dioramas. There's plenty more adventure on the way. Next month, we're heading to a galaxy far, far away, only on Ventura Studio. Thank you very much for watching.